What's up, everybody? It's Jeff. I'm back, and today we are going to go over the comprehensive guide of how to get out of iron. But before we do that, be sure to subscribe to the channel. That way, once you get out of iron, you can follow along for our comprehensive guide of how to get out of bronze, since that's what comes out of iron. I almost said gold. Comprehensive guide how to get out of gold. Yep, that's right. It's going to be so good if you're going to get right out of gold. Anyways, let's jump into it. Today, we're going over the comprehensive guide of how to get out of iron. As mentioned, this is the comprehensive guide. And I got to watch my good buddy Lamosaurus climb from the lowest rank in the game all the way up through gold. So I got a personal first-hand account of what worked and what didn't. And he did this playing just a couple games a week. So that's proof that you can do it even if you have very little time to actually put into this, all right? There's no grind the game until you die, but there's also not the most secret formula in the world. However, just because something's not a secret doesn't mean that you know about it. So let's share that secret with you, all right? Let's get into step one here. Step one is a basic warm-up, okay? Feel good before you play. It's one of the most time-tested, honored rules of actually climbing when you're playing the game, is to not do it when you feel bad. And that's one of the reasons why, when you're watching somebody who's really climbing with just a few games every week, if that's all they've got the time for, they are really disciplined about making sure that they feel good when they play. Of course, you can't always play when you're having the best day of your life, but what you can do is when you start playing, get yourself a little warm up in, okay? Get yourself some basic movement, some basic shooting happening, and we're going to talk about what that's going to be. All right, so first things first, you're gonna go into the range, and we're gonna keep it real simple for this. It's no reason to be complicated, you know. We're gonna go into the range, and you're gonna get the sheriff out as the first weapon. And you're just going to do the easy bots, nice and smooth. Focus on hitting them in the head. Focus on returning your crosshair back to the middle of the range. When you fire off your shot, go back to the center, readjust, reset, one after the other. All right, keep it simple. Do it until you feel good. Try and know kind of what your goal is. You know, you're going to hit as many as you hit. That's fine. When it feels good, take note of how many you hit. Not your high score, not your absolute best, but something kind of in the middle. And then, when you do it in the future, you'll know what you're aiming for, all right? But that's step one. Step one is the sheriff. Next, we're going to move on to the guardian. And the guardian's a great one because the guardian is an affordable weapon that has tons of impact in the game. It's really good if you don't have a lot of money. You can easily win fights versus rifles. You can easily do a lot of damage with a guardian. So you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to do it with the guardian. And this time, when you do it with the guardian, you're also going to do it once up close next to the little monitor there on the screen, but you're going to do it again from further back. That way you can practice hitting some of those longer range shots. And then after that, you are going to do the same thing with the Vandal. Now those three weapons can get you through most of the game. Of course, if you're not really a sheriff gamer, if you're more of a ghost gamer, right, then trade that out. Do the ghost instead and make sure you're doing bots without armor so that you can get those one-shot headshots, okay? It's the same process. You're going to do it up close, you're going to do it further away, you're going to do it up close, you're going to do it further away, you're going to do it up close, you're going to do it further away. And then after that, once you've gone through those 6 or so many, exercises in the training range, go into a deathmatch, do the deathmatch, just focus on being ready for fights, focus on being dialed in, ready to take fights as people swing around the corner. It's not the most elaborate warm-up in the world, but I promise you this, it will get you ready to play real games. It's just enough so that when you go into your game, you can play and perform to the level that you have set. Maybe not above and beyond, but you'll build a new average when you do that. And you'll be surprised at how much of a difference that can make over the course of a couple of weeks. And then as the months go by, you'll find yourself steadily improving just from that basic warm-up. Now, step 2, right? You've done your warm-up, you've done your death match. I personally think TDM is probably the better play, but you've done those things, and now it's time for you to play the game. Well, here's the secret, and this is the part that most people miss, to be honest. Step 2 is to pick an agent. Now, it's really not that complicated. Which one you pick doesn't actually matter all that much. Pick which one you like. Pick which one makes you happy when you play it. Pick which one feels good. A lot of players want to climb, pick every agent in the game. They're like, oh, I feel like trying this today, or oh, I feel like trying that today, or oh, I feel like trying the other thing today. It's like variety may be the spice of life, but it is not the path to success. Path to success is one kick 10,000 times. Paraphrasing Bruce Lee there, okay? You got to pick just one agent. And again, doesn't even really matter which agent. Don't fill for your teammates, and don't just constantly trade up for the sake of having something new every game that you play, because that's going to make you a less effective player. You want to be at your most effective. You want to be playing your best when you're playing the game. Find what feels good, find what you love to play, and play only that. Maybe there's 2 things. We'll play only those 2 things. I promise you, you're going to want to fill. People are going to ask you to fill. We're in iron. We're in iron. It doesn't matter. It's not that important. It really doesn't make that big of a difference. So play what you enjoy playing, play what you're good at playing, run it into the ground. Now, you can play anything. Doesn't matter. Any agent is viable. Any agent is good. If you know how to play it well, which few people in iron really know an agent inside and out, you'll have a huge advantage over the competition. You'll have a huge advantage over your opponents in the game. And with that said, there are some agents that are a little bit easier to play, a little bit better, right? You might be thinking Reyna or Phoenix as obvious choices, you know, something that's really aggressive, easy to do a lot of kills with. But what I've noticed about when you're in iron is that the challenge that you face most is knowing how to use your utility well and then getting good value out of it. And so what I've seen be most successful are actually agents that can play mostly with their gun out, right? Cypher, Killjoy, Viper, these are all good examples of agents where they put down their utility at the beginning of the round, you know, so they put some good thought into like, how am I going to really ruin somebody's day with this utility? And then they play out the round focused on their crosshair, moving around the map, staying active, hunting down opportunities to make an impact. Not sitting back on your camera like some kind of peeping Tom as Cypher, but actually going out and getting active while your utility does its job. You're doing the job of a player who wants to win the game, right? As you play the agent, you're going to learn more about how its utility works. You're going to learn more about where to put it, or when it's good or when it's not good, when you should buy a weapon instead of an extra alarm bot or trip or whatever. These are the things that come from doing the same thing over and over and over again and always asking that question, what's going to be best? How do I win this round? So you get really in tune with an agent and how it wins and how it finds success, and you start to learn when and where and how much utility you want to use and how much you want to have. So picking an agent that allows you to simplify that, like a Sentinel, pretty much every Sentinel falls into this category, makes the game a lot easier, makes the game a lot more straightforward. You don't need incredible flashbangs to win an iron game because, well, most of the time your teammates are going to struggle to follow up on that. What would be way more impactful is if you killed somebody with a KJ molly, or if you managed to catch somebody in a Cypher trip and kill them through a cage. That's something that's not difficult to do, and you're going to get better at it the more you practice it and the more you focus on actually achieving that, right? Not to mention, it's very easy to find lots of guides. Our channel has lots of guides for specific agents, general, on specific maps, both, and you can learn some of the better things that you can do in terms of utilizing your utility, which will put you leagues ahead of other players at this elo. Now, I've mentioned this in passing, but it's important to put a focus on it, and that is that you really need to be active, okay? Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by be active? This doesn't mean put the bomb down and then run into the enemy spawn and die so they can come defuse for free. What it means is that you should look for opportunities in the round, and you should look to create opportunities, and you should look to find weaknesses and gaps in the enemy defense or the enemy attack that you can exploit. You should look to pressure the enemy into basically giving you opportunities to win. If you don't do that, then you have to have perfect timing and tons of luck to be in exactly the right spot to take advantage of a mistake. But if you actively attempt to force mistakes, then you'll find yourself just generally in a position to take advantage of any that happen, whether you created them or they kind of fell into your lap, either or. So stay out on the map and look to do something that's going to give you opportunities to win the game, no matter what agent you're playing. Even if you're thinking, oh, well, I'm Killjoy, I need to sit behind my turret, I need to sit here and make sure my alarm bot's up. You know, it's like, not necessarily, especially not at this elo. So be active, get out there, take advantage of the enemy, find your agent to do that with, and you're going to have much more success. All right. Now, for this last part of the video, since we're talking about activity, I'm going to have our resident Radiant expert teach you how to properly swing an angle. That way, when you come around the corner, you have a much easier time hitting the shot and actually taking out your target. Chris, take it away.
All right, it's Chris. I'm going to make this very short and simple for you guys so you get a very short and effective way on how to swing and what to use when swinging. For instance, a lot of people like to fight for A main on ascent. A very common angle is to play right here as a defender, making sure they are holding this choke so no one passes. So when you're swinging something like A main, you want to do it fast. You don't want them to get the time to react. So in order to swing fast, what do we have to do? We have to use our A key and our D key. A to move left, and D to stop the movement when you're moving left. So we're going to hold A until we're right around here, and that's when we're going to press D, and we're going to make an additional tiny little step like this afterwards. I'll show you what it looks like fast. And after you've acquired this space, let's say they have an enemy jet who's using an operator in heaven. He's standing right here. The best thing to do is to jiggle very close to the wall because it's the hardest to react to. If you're all the way back here, he has a lot more time and a lot more leniency with this shot. So you want to make sure you're very close, you want to jiggle it, and then you'll do the opposite from AD, but you'll do DA now. You'll hold D, and you'll tap A. The main reason why you want to cancel out the opposite directional movement key is mainly because of the most important mechanic called counter-strafing. If you don't know what counter-strafing is, I'll be more than willing to make a whole entire video on counter-strafing if that's what you're interested in. So if that's the case, make sure to leave a comment and let me know, and I'll get on that next week. But when you're swinging angles, you want to make sure you're using the technique also known as cutting the pie. I'll show you what it looks like on the minimap here. As you can see, I'm cutting slivers and slivers of this pie out as I'm going across the angles. The main thing to note is that you want to be using your A and D movement keys more than your W and S movement keys when you're swinging an angle. Not only does it make you the most accurate, but it also makes you the most alert. But the main mechanic you're using here is crosshair placement. And if you don't understand where your crosshair should be, we have a full in-depth guide of crosshair placement on the Cataclysm Gaming official YouTube, so don't be afraid to check that out. It'll definitely help you out a lot. It's very informative and educational. That's pretty much all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, hit that sub button. I've been Chris the Cookie, otherwise known as CG Cock. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Peace, peace.